Hi, everybody. This is Liam. Usually have a little bit more of an excited intro, but I'm talking about something that's really serious and something that has affected me personally over the last year and a half. And I just want to talk about it. And I don't think enough people really talk about this, unfortunately. And it, it, it was it hit me personally just recently. We're talking about mental health and depression in entrepreneurship. And I've seen this be kind of the elephant in the room inside of tech entrepreneurship. And I know we're talking, this channel's about remote work and building remote teams, but mental health is definitely important. And I think that entrepreneurs particularly have a much bigger problem with mental health and depression as it applies to just their general lives in comparison to the general population. I want to share with you a story of mine. I had a friend of mine, Ryan, and he killed himself from mental illness about a year and a half ago, and he was a friend of mine for years. We used to do videos together, which is pretty funny. He was a videographer, and he ran a video shooting and editing business. And I learned a lot of the things that I'm currently implementing now from him. And he was one of the nicest people that you would have ever met in your entire life. Very religious. I'm not necessarily religious, but I very much respected that. And very entrepreneurial, was always starting new businesses and new business ideas. And I remember that he had a pretty serious problem maybe about two and a half years ago. I remember very specifically he had a very public problem, and because he was so connected to entrepreneurship and social media, that problem was quite public. And I remember reaching out to him, and I actually checked out what I was saying to him on Facebook, and I was asking him if he was okay, and he was okay. And he had been battling mental illness for years, and it was something that I remember that being an increasingly serious problem with him, but I didn't necessarily know how to solve it and how to help him. And something that I've had serious problems with in the past. I've done therapy before. I've found it incredibly useful, and something that people always think of as a negative is going and getting help, particularly as entrepreneurs, who are the people that are supposed to have all of the answers to all of your employees' questions. And it's something that is just so problematic because there's so much stress that's on our shoulders as business owners, and there's no way to really relieve that stress, unfortunately. And also, there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to entrepreneurship. Like, literally, you say, I remember I heard this a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it's quoted by somebody else, but entrepreneurship is like you jump off a cliff and you build a plane as you're going down. And that's what entrepreneurship is like a lot of these times. So we have those problems, and we have such a high level of uncertainty. And if things go badly, then they go really badly, really quickly. We also have a lot of social isolation. So there's almost 100 people inside of the company that me and Rob run, and we really can't talk to any of those people, unfortunately, because they work for us, and it's just not the same in comparison to reaching out to coworkers, as an example. So that part of our lives is really kind of locked off, and there's a lot of isolation that goes on there. There's also, like, it's just not socially acceptable, I think, particularly for entrepreneurs that are supposed to have all the answers, to really go out and get help. And I know for Ryan, when I had that exchange with him, I remember it so vividly. I was in Hong Kong on the other side of the planet, and I woke up and I saw this problem that he was having on social media that we don't necessarily need to get into the details with, but I remember reaching out to him, and he had some people that were helping him through it, and he said, "Oh yeah, no, everything's fine." And I said, I'd really love to be able to talk to you when I get back. And I remember chatting with him, saying he was running an entrepreneurship group, and I said, well, I'd love to be able to have your next entrepreneurship meetup at the office that we're currently in right now. And he said, yeah, that'd be cool. And he seemed really excited. And a couple weeks later, he just ended up dying of mental illness. And again, it's something that I think a lot of people need to talk more about, and it's something that I was personally quite taken aback from. I know going to his funeral, there were a bunch of other entrepreneurial people there, and everyone was just kind of blown away that he would do something like this. But I bet you if a lot of them looked deep inside themselves, there's probably been a moment in their lives where they were at that same point that Ryan had been. So yeah, I just want to kind of talk about this basically, and see whether or not someone else has had those types of stories as well. Ask some questions down in the comments below. I'd be very happy to answer them. I've actually now spoken, and it's been a year and a half, but I've spoken to my therapist about this particular instance, and given me a bit of a framework to be able to work through this. And I've definitely worked through it at this point, which is why I'm ready to talk about it. But if someone is in that type of place right now, understand that you're not alone, and that there are people that are around you that are there to help. I'm very happy to be able to talk to you if you don't have anyone else around. But friends, family, the biggest variable, I think, for mental illness and depression, or mental health and depression, is, as entrepreneurs, is that we don't ask for help. And I think that it's really important to start asking for help a lot more often. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I'd love to be able to continue the conversation somewhere else. And if you have any of those problems right now, we're going to put some links down below for people that you can call. And if you can't call those people right now, just message me right now, and I'll be able to get back to you. Thanks.
Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about anxiety, specifically with regards to your business, and anxieties you may have within your business. Anxiety is a result of worrying about things that are to come. And oftentimes in business, when we've invested money, we've invested time, our thoughts, our energies into something, it's easy for us to worry about the outcome. And so I'm here to tell you that I believe you need to detach yourself from the outcomes of your business, because inevitably they are going to go in directions that you never imagined. And the path that you may lay out in your line is not going to be the path it goes. So what my suggestion is that you would be present. Think about right now what needs to be done in your business right now to make it move to the next step. So think of your businesses in steps. Think, have a long-term plan, but don't obsess over it. And mainly just be in the moment and think about what needs to be done right now. What can I do right now? And stop worrying.